man.
Yeah, yeah. Round up. Thank you. Thank you for coming in. We'll let a few more people get logged on here. I am interested in multifamily investing. Did you ever do any single family stuff, Mike?
Yeah, we did some single family stuff, but it was all kind of by default. It wasn't really by design. We started in multifamily and basically been that our whole life. But I've bought a portfolio. We bought a couple single family homes, did some flipping, of course, and then we bought a portfolio that was 23 units, but that had a couple single families in that portfolio. So I kind of bought a single family, but in a multifamily world. And in a multifamily way. And so I bought, there was in that portfolio, I think there was 5 duplexes and 13 houses or something like that.
Wow. Did you keep that stuff or you?
Yeah, I still own that stuff. Yeah. I bought that this year, actually.
Now, do you I'm thinking, what wets your whistle? Is it more you just took that because?
Yeah, well, that one actually, I got that deal because I knew a guy and he was he's about 65, wanted to retire and was ready kind of to let his portfolio go and didn't really want to cash out, didn't want to get ran over by capital gains tax. So he wanted a long-term seller financing deal. And so we set up a deal for him. And so that one kind of fit. But yeah, multifamily, especially one footprint, an apartment building style, that's my game. That's what I love.
One roof,
baby. One roof. I mean, maybe multiple roofs, but one piece of land.
Yeah.
Maybe multiple roofs, but yeah, I love it, man. And I like it for a lot of reasons, but I love purchase. I love getting one, because, to buy a house, it's the same process to buy a multifamily. It's just bigger numbers, right? Mm-hmm. And so if I'm going to go through bigger numbers, I like to see that bigger return.
Gotcha. Well, today I hope you're going to be dropping some nuggets on us is my goal.
Bring it, man. I'm going to bring it. I'm excited.
Round Up family, thank you so much for joining us. We're hitting over 30 people now. I am Chris Haskins, and my mission and ministry is to raise your financial literacy through real estate investing and entrepreneurship. By the way, I didn't know how to spell that word till I got older in life.
That's one of those words we all let autocorrect take over on that word.
In doing that, I get to hang out with some winners, some people that are just doing some unbelievable things, which brings us to having Mike Fritz. What's up, player?
What's up, man? How are we doing today? How are you? How are things on your side of the world?
Man, we're good. A little chilly today. I went to the dentist this morning. I kept feeling something funny in my tooth, and he said, "Oh, Chris, you gotta cut that popcorn out." I had a kernel down in there.
Oh, I hate that. Man. You never know.
Yeah. So we're good. Family's good. Everybody's still at home. How you guys still at home up there?
Yeah. No, students are back to school. They're of course they're back to school. They're taking precautions, but yeah, they're back in the game. So
okay, cool.
Yeah, man.
Well, today, Roundup, I wanted to share with you, Mike has been doing multifamily houses for years, bought a bunch of them, and he's got a huge portfolio, and I would like for him to actually share his experiences being on the other side, because a lot of my viewers, including me, are single family investors. So let's just kind of learn from the experts that are doing this thing. Mike, tell us your background, Mike. How did you get into this thing?
Yeah, good question. So I grew up in a family that had a couple rental properties. My parents had a couple. I think they had 5 when I was growing up. So I kind of grew up around people. I kind of grew up seeing the benefit of owning, buy and hold properties. My family kind of lived in a multifamily growing up, and although the houses weren't connected. So when the house I grew up in, my parents bought that house, and on the same property was a really small 1-bedroom house. It was probably 500 square feet, really tiny house. They rented that out, and that almost covered their mortgage. And so I kind of saw this multifamily idea as a young guy. And so when I got married, I met my wife very, very young. First time I saw my wife was in 6th grade. I've been married to her for 19 years. And when we got married at age 20, I started a contracting business right out of high school. I hated school. So I'm like, I ain't going to college and do more school, man. I want to go right into business. So I started a contracting business, started building houses. And when I was 20, my dad and mom helped me get a loan. When I was 20 years old, just about to get married. And my wife and I built a duplex. I built it nights and weekends. And I was just grinding, man. And I built this duplex, and we moved in half right after we got married and rented the other half out. And I lived for about $100 a month when I got married in a brand new place. Nice. And so that's how I got my whistle wet with real estate. And so I built that that duplex for $129,000, and about 3 years later, we sold that for $185,000, and so made some good revenue on that property. But that's called house hacking, and I didn't know that at the time. I didn't even know there was a word for it, where you live in one of your units, let the other units make your payment. Well, as I continue to grow in real estate, and I did end up going to college and had some other career options, then really started investing heavily, not full time, but as a side hustle in 2012, and recently went full time into multifamily real estate because I saw the passivity and the freedom that comes with investing. And then one of the things I see people all the time is they don't have enough time to spend with the people they love and the things they love to do, right? And so, I see people that want to spend more time with their kids but can't. I see people that want to go on more vacations but can't, and I don't like, and I hate that. And so my passion is to help 10,000 people replace their income and create full revenue with multifamily real estate. And so that's our mission, is to help 10,000 people move to full time with real estate and pursue the life of their dreams.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. Thank you for that, Mike. I love it when I hear people that have a purpose, man, because it almost pulls you out of bed in the morning, would you say?
Oh, so true, brother. Because there's days, I don't care what kind of real estate you're in or what field you're in. There's days, man, right, when we wake up and we got, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Today even, man, I found out that I lost out on a deal today.
Was that one you were telling me about earlier?
Yeah. So we were getting ready to put it. No, that was another one. I was getting ready to put in an offer, they call it an LOI, or a letter of intent, this week. And I just found out that it got snagged out from under. So we're just assembling and making sure our investors were all ready to go, and lost a really, really good deal. And so there's days, man, but that gets us up in the morning. You got that right. And and we got that got right. But multifamily, it changed everything for me, because it gives me three things. It gives me recession-proof real estate, and I'll talk about this in a minute. It gives me positive cash flow. And it gives me appreciation in which I can control its speed limit. What that means is I can control when the building becomes worth more by what we call forced appreciation. Multifamily gives me such a three-legged stool that it truly supports my goals and my hopes and dreams. And I'll share all that with you guys today of why I'm in this game. But those three things set my foundation so that I can bring that mission to people, and that's why I'm so passionate about it, brother. I can talk about it forever, man.
I see. I'm ready to listen. Let's up. Get your questions in the box over there. If you're watching it live, if you miss us, Mike's going to come back, get some questions down in the comment section. So please this guy knows 100% of the information, and more than that, he likes to have fun, so. Absolutely. Mike, well, how do you find this stuff? Tell me, when you when you're looking for this stuff, how does it start?
All right. Yeah. Great question. So there's really three categories of multifamily real estate. You have to find deals, you have to find money, and then you have to operate the deals you have. So it's really three categories. You got to find deals, find money, operate. Find deals, find money, operate. It's a real simple system. Now, under each of those pillars is a lot of nuance and a lot of understanding and a lot of things to learn. But those are really the three things you need to know. You need to know how to get the deal, how to fund the deal, how to operate the deal. It's really a basic system. It's not rocket science. But the rocket will run you over if you don't learn the science. And so we that's why Chris and I put this together, because I see somebody who's even already saying, I need to find funding. We're going to actually talk about that tomorrow, of how you find money. Today, we're going to talk about how you actually locate deals, because one of the things investors are going to ask you when you say, hey, would you like to invest? They're going to say, well, show me a deal. They don't like to invest in air. They like to invest in deals, right? Chris knows that.
Yep.
And so today we want to first start to teach you how to find the deal. And then, okay, now I found the deal. Now I can start talking to people about funding those deals. And I'm going to share that with you tomorrow. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, Chris, if you're cool with it, why don't we bring up, I'll bring up that presentation. We cool with that?
Yeah, let's do it. Let me see what I got. You live, Mike.
All right. So can they see this presentation right here, Chris?
Yeah. Where in the world do we find the
deals? Where in the world do I find deals? You can see that, right?
Yeah.
All right. So where in the world do we find these deals? So many people. Oh, let me tell you, the worst place to invest, the worst way to decide where to invest in multifamily real estate. So a lot of people, you can pretty much flip and wholesale in any market. That's pretty fine subject twos in any market. But if you're going to buy and hold a property, a 4-unit or an 8-unit or a 10-unit, you want to buy that in an area that is increasing, that is growing. And let me tell you, here's a power tip for multifamily real estate. Invest, always follow jobs. That is as one of the number one things I have found in the history. That'll always follow where the jobs are going. Where's Amazon building their next
Amazon?
Where's Apple building their next whatever? Just follow jobs, and you'll never go wrong with multifamily real estate.
Nice.
And so, because population growth never goes down if jobs are going up, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's one of the so number one, we have to decide where. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, well, I know of a building right down the road. Where you live is sometimes the worst place to invest in real estate. So you don't want to choose multifamily real estate just because you live there. I can actually teach you how to operate. I own no real estate in the city I live. Zero.
What?
Zero. I own zero real estate in the city I live. I live in Cincinnati. I'm currently about to move to Phoenix. I own 0 properties in Cincinnati, and I own 1 property in Phoenix, and it's my primary residence.
Nice.
And so I will own 0 properties where I live. But I have teams that run those, and that's the operate piece, right? Mm-hmm. Because I see where trends are going and where's a good places to invest. And so now, ironically, Cincinnati is a good place to invest, and I've looked at a lot of deals here and still looking for a good deal that really fits what we're looking for. But you want to look at places that are good. So it's not always where you live. Now, I say all that. If you're investing 2 to 4 units in a couple units, then you can most likely you can invest where you live. It's when you get into the bigger deals, you want to make sure that there's enough population growth to support the rents. So if you're trying to buy a duplex or a 3-unit or a 4-unit, buying in Southwest Michigan, which is where I lived and started, they stay rented all the time, and that's fine. But if you have bigger buildings, you want to make sure you're looking at bigger areas. So what I want to do, I'm just gonna walk through some areas of like, where in the world do I find these deals? Where do I actually find these? So here's 7 ways that I find deals that anybody can do this. Like literally anybody can do this. Now, you want to learn the lingo before you start reaching out to people, because you want to continue to sound like a professional, which it doesn't take that much. You can listen to Chris's stuff and the stuff we're teaching and learn enough lingo to make sure you know what you're talking about when you call people. But 7 ways to find deals. Number 1, I find a lot of deals on Craigslist. I find a lot of deals, and I know that some people are like, dude, didn't Craigslist die like 10 years ago? It actually didn't. And especially if you're looking in that 2 to 4 unit range, which I find is where a lot of people kind of feel comfortable starting. And I would encourage you. I know Chris and I know who this is, and you probably do too. I do not buy into the go big or go home mentality. I don't think that's a smart idea. I think go big. If you go big too soon, you will be going home with no money. And so go big or go home. My point is, I think that's garbage. I think that just don't do that. Start in that 2 to 4 unit, 6 unit, that range that's manageable, just to get your feet wet. And then you can then we call it the stack. You buy a 2 unit, then maybe a 4 unit, then maybe an 8 unit. You continue to grow. It's like, Chris today with his teams, I'm sure he could take 3, 4, 5 flips at a time. But when he was starting, I don't know that he would have wanted to do that. I know I wouldn't have. And so
we do, but no way.
Yeah, exactly. And so Craigslist is a great way to just go on, and you can go into Craigslist and type in multifamily, type in duplex, 3 unit, 3-plex, 4-plex, and some deals are going to come up. And of course, you have to in Craigslist pick the area you're looking at. So it's one way you can just look and see. I found deals. Not only have I found a 3 unit on a Craigslist one time. Actually, my wife was searching around. She locates the unit, shoots it to me. We end up not only buying that building, we still own that building today, and it is a cash cow building. Just makes a lot of money. Got it right off Craigslist. And so here's one thing about finding deals. Let me give you an underlying principle. There's not one way to find 50 deals. There's 50 ways to find one deal.
Yeah.
And that that from finding off market deals, Chris. I mean, you know how many different ways there are to find a deal, right?
Yep.
And so it's the same way with multifamily. You're going to see a lot of overlap with the principles because the fundamentals of real estate don't really change. Some of the nuance does when you're buying multifamily versus single family or subject twos or wholesale. Some of the but we're trying to find deals that create enough margin for us to make money, whether we're doing that in 3 months on a flip or every single month on multifamily, right?
Yeah.
And so Craigslist is a great place. Another one that is similar. Facebook basically created its own Craigslist, which is Facebook Marketplace. You can go in there, again, type in duplex, fourplex in the areas you want to look, and you're going to see. Now, what you'll do, sometimes Facebook has changed its algorithm a couple times. It used to be where you could say if you were looking to rent or buy, and you'll have to check to see if that's still there. And but again, it's a great way just to see. You'll find more places trying to more owners trying to rent their place on Facebook Marketplace, but every now and then you'll find somebody trying to buy. So it's just another tool in your tool belt of looking for deals. Okay. Number 3, of course, real estate agents. I call these bird dogs. Real estate agents, everywhere you want to buy, I would be contacting 2 or 3, build relationships with 2 or 3 real estate agents that just have their feelers out on where deals are. Because you never know. Here's what I've learned with real estate agents. Not only do they know of the listings and they have access to the MLS, everybody has access to this. But that real estate agent might know of somebody who's been thinking about selling and hasn't listed the property yet. I called a real estate agent one time. It's actually here in Cincinnati. It's looking to buy a property. I told her what I was looking for, and here's what she did. She's like, you know what? I actually pass this property on to work every day, and I know the guy. I actually think he's been interested in selling. He's never listed. Let me make a call. Ended up making a call and got us a showing. Wow. Wasn't listed, but every real estate agent knows a few people that may be interested in selling, and that's why multiple agents are great to have in your pocket, because they just know this stuff, right? And let me make a quick side note about real estate agents. One of the cool things you can do with real estate agents is have what I call a property profile. Property profile means you just tell them what kind of property you're looking for. I'm looking for a 2 to 4 unit property in this price range in this area. Here's why I do that. Because that way, we call this TOMA, top of mind awareness. That means when that property hits their desk, I come to their mind because I'm the one that's given them that property profile. So what I want is I create this little idea, like this is the property I'm looking for. I get that in as many realtors' hands as possible. And then then I have a lot of real estate agents see my name when a property comes across. They attach my name instantly. Oh, you know what? I have a buyer for that. Let me call him. In fact, Chris made a comment earlier when we were shooting some promo for this earlier today, letting everybody know what we were doing. He mentioned a 6 unit I just bought. Beautiful building. And but here's what happened. I'm sitting at my desk one day, and all of a sudden an email comes in. It's from a real estate agent, and it says, this has your name all over it. It was this building. Long story short, we ended up buying that building. But here's the question. How did she know it had my name on it? Because she had a property profile, which created TOMA. I was in her mind when that property came across, and it's the reason I bought it. That's the reason I got that property. So when you're with real estate agents, you want to kind of build a profile, what you're looking for. Then you want to go after as many agents as possible in those markets you want to buy. Wow. If you want to start close to home, that's great. But that's a great way to have almost like your own little sales team out searching for properties. You get me? Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Real estate agents are huge. And then there's kind of, I would put these 4 into the same category. Zillow, Redfin, LoopNet, Realtor.com are all MLS listings. Now let me section out LoopNet. LoopNet is for commercial property primarily. And you're going to see a lot of multifamilies on LoopNet. Now, LoopNet also works you can find everything from industrial space to multifamily to golf courses on LoopNet. So all you have to do is make sure you section your search down to multifamily, and then you're going to see multifamily come up in LoopNet. And I use LoopNet a lot. The problem with LoopNet is it's just like any other MLS. If it's there, everybody knows it. Everybody knows. You already know that because you're an off-market dude. Yeah, everybody knows that, right? And so but that doesn't mean that I don't use these.
Still make an offer. Shoot, I don't know how many houses we bought that are on the MLS. You still got to make an offer.
Absolutely. And that's why I said, it's not, I still use all of them. And, but it's just one of those things. I always call, these are icing. The top 3 are cake. Gotcha. Right. So the things that everybody has access to, that's icing. But the cake is finding that owner that down the road that might be interested in selling and reaching out one-on-one to him. That's cake, because that's how we really find deals. And then there's these are some kind of more kind of top level ideas of how to find deals. Auction.com is another option where you can actually go and bid. And this is if you have cash to buy a deal. Let's say you find an investor, you can actually buy one. It's usually really distressed or foreclosed properties. And you can go to auction.com and you can actually bid on properties to win. Now, this is more, I would not suggest starting here, but this is great way to, as you get on more experience and as you continue to raise more money. You ever used auction.com for some of your stuff, Chris?
Yep, I've bid. I don't know how many. I have associates that have bought from auction.com, but I haven't.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of that robo bidding goes on with these houses.
You ain't kidding.
Single family houses, you know, I just get tired of it. But I mean, it's still good opportunities there.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of good opportunities. And so you continue to look again. This is all, we do all of them. There's not one way to find 50 ways to find one. And then of course our off market, then there's off market. Off market is more one-to-one combat. This is where I see a building, I can find out the owner and I can send them a letter and say, hey, I love your building. You've done amazing things with this building. I'd love to find a way if there's a win-win, if you'd be interested in selling, if we can find a number that works for both of us.
Nice.
And so that is another way where people often, and you can do a lot of creative marketing. I know a guy that sends one of those little mini Rubik's cubes. And he basically just says, hey, I think we can figure this out. And he just has a creative way to market that obviously sticks in the buyer's mind because that's so different. But the idea is that it's kind of more, like I say, one-to-one combat. It's more like I'm going after one deal. I call that the YDAT or ODAT method, ODAT, one deal at a time. Sometimes that's underappreciated. We want to be able to buy mass. Well, when you're in multifamily, most people are buying one deal at a time because it takes a lot more money to get into them.
Yeah.
And then, of course, networking, man. I'm telling you what, networking with people like your local RIA groups and your meetup groups and just networking with people. There are usually multifamily associations in every city or rental associations. Get involved in those. Go to those. Even if they're virtual, go to them. Get on there. Start connecting with people. Let people know what you're doing. Let people know what you're interested in. You never know when somebody's like, you know what, I got a property that might meet that. Or, hey, my parents have a 3-unit they've been wanting to sell and it just hasn't fit what I'm doing. It might fit what you're doing. You never know. So these are the ways that I want you guys to continue to shape the deal finding path. Okay. Mm-hmm. So again, Craigslist, Facebook, real estate, all of our MLS, auction.com, off market, and networking. If you just stick here, you'll have enough ways to find deals that will last you a lifetime.
Wow.
Just stay here. Just stay. I mean, I'm not saying it. Believe me, it works. It works. But you got to work it, right? You got to work it.
I'm thinking, Mike, I get a little depressed when I'm driving around my town. We have just like very low inventory.
Yeah, sure.
Regarding multifamily.
Yeah, and so when you say low inventory, are you talking about low number of buildings or low buildings for sale?
Low number of buildings. The product just does not exist a lot around here. Like I'm talking about the smaller stuff.
Yeah, Mike, I'm gonna come back on too. I'm gonna come back on.
Yeah, let's bring you in.
Go ahead, bring me in. Go for it.
I guess I want to make sure that for my viewers, including me, I know my town, and you said don't worry about it if it's in your town. Can anybody do this?
Yeah.
In another location.
Oh, absolutely. In fact, I would encourage people to invest where they don't live. Yeah. I would because here's the deal. If you only pick your market will be the ceiling to the amount of deals you have access to. And while, yes, you can often find enough, you all don't limit yourself to your own city. Building those skills of operating outside of your city early makes you such more powerful investor because you have access. Man, I'm telling you. So if you don't have inventory in your city, I would say that's actually a benefit. That drives you to do it the right way from the start. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. Well, I just want my viewers to know. Obviously, we don't know what's in your head. Some people are like, well, I've been taught you need to be able to drive to it, but that doesn't actually.
No,
it's not a rule for this.
No. In fact, when people say you got to be you got to be able to drive to it, I say, I would say no. I would say you have to have it in a place where there's renters that will pay the rents that generate good revenue.
Gotcha.
And you know what? Now, when I do get into a city, for example, when I do build a team in an area, so let's say I own a lot of property in South Bend, Indiana, and now that I've built a property manager and I have brokers, and I own a lot of property right close to South Bend and to Notre Dame, the university. Mm-hmm. And so, but now that I have a broker, I have a lender, I have a property manager. Now that I've built that team, you better believe I'm buying as much as I can there after I've built that team. But next we're looking to move to Atlanta. So if we move to Atlanta, I'm going to fly there. I'm going to build the entire team. I don't own any property in Atlanta today. I'm going to build the entire team around Atlanta, and then I'm going to spend a lot of time, as long as that market keeps going up, which I think it's gonna, investing in a ton in Atlanta.
Gotcha.
So if it's not where you live, that's okay. That's okay, because here's the deal: multifamily. Having multifamily where you live isn't, if that's not a great place to own multifamily from a rental perspective, doesn't matter anyway. You'd rather own in areas where there's teams already set up. And here's the benefit of us, Chris and I, being together today. If say you wanted to buy, in most of the markets, I could tell you of people that you could connect for your team.
Oh, gotcha.
So if, like, let's say you're saying, yeah, I want to move to Houston. I know people in Houston I can connect you. I want to move to Atlanta. I know people in Atlanta. I want to move to Phoenix. I know people in Phoenix. I want to move to Cincinnati. I know people in, like, I can tell you the cities that Columbus, I got a broker that sells in Columbus. And so that's the benefit of this whole world that Chris is creating here is I can help you a lot with that kind of stuff.
Let me reintroduce you, Mike. We got 100 people on here now. We're here with Mike Fritz. What we're doing is a 2-day multi-family house challenge. Mike called me up when we just been trying to put this thing together for you, Roundup. I want you guys to make sure, and including me, because I'm learning too. I'm cutting my teeth on this multi-family thing. I'm like, why not? I need to open up my toolbox and expand. So I'm hooking up with the experts that are doing it. So this is a 2-day challenge. Today, Mike's going to be talking about, he has been locating deals. And so tomorrow is just more of the financing. Thank you for joining us one more time. Get your questions in that box for Mike as we talk about finding these deals.
Absolutely. So remember, I want to revisit why I invest in multifamily, why I think everybody should at least add it to their portfolio. Number one, I watched 2008 and 2009 happen. And 2008, 2009, multifamily real estate was one of the asset classes that actually weathered the storm the best. And here's why. When people lose their homes, sadly, that is a sad occurrence. But when it happens, it creates more renters. And more renters creates more demand. And so rents go up. Mm-hmm. And so actually multifamily in economic recession, while it's the value of the building will go down just like all your houses, here's the cool thing. You still collect cash until it comes back up. You know what I mean? And so that's what happened in 2008, 2009. People that own multifamily, their monthly cash flow increased. And then until that we came out of that climb, and it climbed until they could sell their buildings or refinance or whatever they wanted to do. But it's one of the more recession-proof markets. And let me tell you, when the foreclosure moratorium lifts, this is why Chris and I want to do this specific thing. When all those foreclosures hit the market, there are going to be a massive flood of renters to the world. And we are already on a rental shortage in America as it is. It's going to drive demand even higher. So there's 2 reasons why I believe you should get into multifamily like 7 minutes ago. And the first one is because of what's coming economically. And the second one, we have never seen financing money so cheap as it is right now. I just got a loan for 3.5%. on almost a 7-figure building, 3.5%. That's crazy. Wow. My personal residence, we just got it like 2.8. That's crazy. That's crazy cheap money. And so, number one, money is cheaper than it has ever been, that at least in my lifetime. Number two, what's coming, the wave of economic turbulence that's coming our way, multifamily is going to be what is a really, really, really safe investment, because it's going to create more renters, and you're going to be there to be able to provide that value to people.
I know you were talking about finding it, Mike. Can I ask you about the third? I guess you were talking about a leg to the stool operation. I'm thinking in my mind that's almost like assets under managing it.
Yep. Asset management. Yeah. So that third leg. So if you're just joining us, there are 3 real things you got to know for multifamily. You got to find deals, you got to find money, and you got to operate the units you have. So it's a real simple. If you've ever heard any of my content, I break things down into small bite-sized pieces so that you can digest it and continue to grow your portfolio. And that's the 3 categories. We got to find it, got to fund it, we got to operate it. Real simple. In the operation category, when you buy a property, there's a couple people the main person you need is a property manager. You need a property manager that'll collect the rents, that'll clean when tenants move out. If a tenant, they'll clean it all up and get it re-rented for you. Most property managers have a contractor team in base. So if like a leaky faucet happens, they call their contracting team. If none of it deals with you. So here's the cool thing about my manager, like for example, in South Bend, and we got quite a few units there, is every month I just get a report. Here's your expenses. Here's your income, deposit into your account. That's it. I don't do anything. My biggest goal in South Bend is to buy more property.
Get more stuff.
Get more stuff. Now, when you buy a portfolio and you transfer to a property manager, I'm in contact with our property manager quite a bit to make sure the transition goes well. Okay, we have 4 or 5 empty units in one of our portfolios right now because we took over a distressed portfolio. We're fixing it up. So I'm in contact at least weekly, usually bi-weekly currently, but they do all the heavy lifting. So you need a property manager. You need a real estate broker so that they can continue to find deals for you. You need a contracting team, which often can come with your property manager, and you need a lender. That's really your management team, because lending, you need to continue to buy more deals. And then I'll talk about all your funding tomorrow. Everybody wants to know, like, how do I find money? I'll talk about that tomorrow. Oh man. Yeah. Cause that's really where the magic happens. Cause let me tell you something. I told you should go network, right? Well, when people know you're a good money raiser and you can go out and raise money, you'll never, ever be short on deals. People will be like, dude, I got a deal today. If you can raise money, let me tell you, it's ironic, right? It is the most valuable skill in I'll call it in real estate, not just multifamily real estate, in any real estate. And that's why Chris teaches so much on private lending and money, and because it's such a valuable piece, right?
I think that everybody has their strengths. That's been one of my strengths. When I look back, I'm like, I've been able to fund whatever deal comes. It's not even, I don't even give the money a thought,
Yeah, so, exactly. And most that you say you don't give it a thought, but especially with multifamily, because it's bigger numbers, it's what stops most people. And so if we can get people to not giving it a thought like you do, and build those teams, and you even have that amazing prospectus that you help people build that with to raise money, my goodness, that is such a piece of value. Because again, if you can raise money, everybody invests to the ceiling of their capital, meaning we can't outinvest the money we have. Everybody does. We all do. We all have to go get money at some point. So the way I do my deals, I go raise about 30% of a deal, and then I go get a bank for the rest. So I raise the down payment, go get a loan, raise the down payment, go get a loan. Cool thing with commercial real estate, as a side note, I'll talk about this more tomorrow, is they look more at the validity of the deal than they do you as the borrower. And they'll loan you, like as in residential, all you guys know, they'll only loan you so much money before they start seeing you as a liability. Yeah, you're done. Yeah. In commercial, I got a couple commercial mentors that have over 100 millions in loans, hundreds of millions in loans. And so it just doesn't matter. I mean, one of my mentors just has well over 450 million in assets now. And he's probably got half of that in loans, at least, probably more. Gracious. And so they just don't, that's the cool thing about commercial real estate. And by the way, in the multifamily game, side note, 5 units and above is commercial, 4 units below is residential. Commercial lenders will come in at that 5 unit mark. But yet multifamily, that's the 3 reasons, right? So there's 3 categories: find it, fund it, operate it. Then there's 3 reasons. I love it because it's recession proof, gives me cash flow, and I can force appreciate the building. So for example, let me give you a quick example of why I love this. So every single person that's in real estate can do multifamily. And the one reason I love it is because one of the reasons is because if I get the building and I can raise rents, if I get a 5 unit, for example, if I get a 5 unit, and I can raise, if I get a 5 unit and I can raise each rent $200 a month, which is very, very typical. So that's $1,000 a month. So at $12,000 a year, that's $12,000 a year. Let's say we're selling that at a 7 cap. So $12,000 a year. I'm going to show you something real quick. Divided by 0.07. So I just force appreciated that building $171,000. Now let me show you what I mean by that. In multifamily real estate, I'm not going to bog you down, but there's a thing called a cap rate. This isn't just multifamily; it's in all real estate. Have you shot any videos on a cap rate? What a cap rate is, Chris?
No, I have not.
Okay, so I tell you what, I'm going to talk tomorrow because it's money day. I'll talk tomorrow about what a cap rate is.
Please.
But a cap rate is simply, I'll break it down. A cap rate is simply your net operating income divided by the asking price. So if that's like a 7 cap, let's say, Well, then if you increase the building $12,000 a year, you divide that by 7%, your 7 cap, and it gives you how much more the building's worth.
Goes up.
We just bought this building for $750,000. This 6th unit that Chris was mentioning earlier today, $750,000, and we will. The owner's paying all the utilities. We're going to bill $14,000 of the utilities back to the tenants, make them start paying their own utilities, and we're going to get $200,000 in forced depreciation. Because if you go $14,000 divided by 7 cap, that's $200,000. So now it's worth $950, and that took me 12, 13 months to do. And
I want to see this building too, Mike. I'm like,
you want me to show you the building real quick?
Well, I don't want to interrupt your flow.
Let's do it. I'll tell you what, we'll show that tomorrow. We'll give them back tomorrow, because that building, it's on my Facebook too. But that building, when I went into that building, I knew I made an offer within 60 minutes because it was such a beauty. But here's what here's what I want you to get out of today. Find deals, find money, operate. There's our 3 system. Why you should be involved in multifamily? It's recession proof, and that's what's coming. You get cash flow every month, and you get to control the speed limit of appreciation. That's the power. And I know you're like, Mike, I don't understand that. This is, believe me, we're going to talk more about money tomorrow, but every single person, that cash flow every month, baby, it's so awesome. And you get to appreciate the building. Then get this. So get this. Let's say, this is why I love multifamily. I get so jacked about this. So let's say I put $200,000 into this $750,000 building. Get this. I invested about $200,000. I got investors. So in about a year and a half to 2 years, I'm going to force appreciate at $2,000. I'm going to refinance that $200,000 out. And guess what? I own now a building that I have $0 in.
Gotcha. Get that money out.
Get that money out. And now my investors are all paid back. And now they own a building, and they're getting cash flow on a building they have no money in. What's the return on investment of 0? Nobody. So this is why it's a multifamily game, baby. This is why I love this. And why our passion is to help 10,000 people create enough passive revenue to replace their income so they can start living the life of their dreams. And this is the way to do it. It's the way I found to do it anyway.
That's cool. Get your questions in, round up. I had one other note I wanted to touch on, Mike. Property management. I've got horror stories that will keep you up for
you and me both, brother.
And I've got clients that have called me up. Chris, help me out. I want to know, do you have a way that you are vetting these people? You don't have to give it all to me now. We're already at 40 minutes. We got 110 people on.
Awesome.
Is it something that you have a system checklist? I mean, this could be horror stories.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So biggest mistake I ever made in real estate, the biggest one that cost me the most money was hiring the wrong property manager.
Gotcha.
It was my biggest mistake. And so how I curb that mistake now is I vet my managers a little more carefully. Number one, I'm always looking for a referral. So I'm asking people in the real estate space, hey, I'm going into this market. If it's a market I don't know, do you know any great managers? But let me tell you, one of the best places to get property manager numbers from your lender and from your broker.
Gotcha.
Those 2 places, they tend to know good managers, because you hear these horror stories, but what I found is there's above the line and below the line property managers. There's ones that are legit, and then there's ones that aren't legit. And I made all the wrong mistakes on my first one, the first one I hired. And the legit ones, they have a good website. You can call them. They have an office you can drive to. You can meet the owner. And I would do all that. I'd sit down with them, get the feel for the energy. Do they feel good to you? Do you feel like they connect with you? Do they care about you as one of the things that I want a property manager to ask me is, Mike, what's your goal with your portfolio? I want them to know, in the next 2 years, I want to get all the utilities back to the tenants. In the next 2 years, I want to increase rents $200 a unit. I want them to know our vision. I enfold them in as a team member. And if they don't embody that vision, they don't fit me.
Gotcha. Are these property managers already, no doubt they're, do you try out new ones, or are you looking?
How do I travel to where the deals are? I have a 9-to-5 job. Great question. Great question.
Good.
Great question. You know what? I have people in that area that look like the brokers, and then right before. So in multifamily, there's 2 stages. There's an LOI and a PSA. The LOI is a letter of intent. That's just a letter saying I'm intending to buy your building, but it's pending due diligence. I need to see it. Then you would go out and look at it, or you could connect with somebody that would look at it for you, or go out on the weekend, do a quick trip over the weekend and look at the property. And then you'd put in a PSA, which is a purchase and sales agreement, and then you're under contract. LOIs are non-binding, but it just tells them you're more serious than just the window shoppers.
Gotcha.
And so it's LOI, then PSA. And so if you really want a property, like for this property right now that I was going to do in Atlanta that I lost on today, I would have put the LOI in, and then I would have taken a day to go look. And if you have a 9-to-5 job, I would fly out Saturday morning and fly back Sunday, look at the property and do it on a weekend. You know,
Gotcha.
that's what I would do.
I must have missed that one. There's somebody that had for the 9-to-5 they had on here.
Yeah. 341. That one came in.
We're going to get the Q&A. I got a million of them here, Mike.
Oh, bring it, man. I love it.
So we got here, what is it, 110 people, 40 minutes, Mike. So I know your time is limited. We're going to get to Q&A. So we're talking about finding stuff today, and tomorrow, same time. You're going to make it in your schedule to come back on here and go over the financing piece?
Absolutely. Yeah. It's the same time tomorrow, 3 p.m. I'm going to talk about, now that you say you found a deal. Maybe it's right next to you. Maybe it is, you live in a good area. You found a deal. Now you're like, okay, I need 30,000 to go buy this deal. How do I find the money? Or I need 100,000 to buy this deal. How do I find the money? And so first you need to know how much money you actually need. That's a science in and of itself in multifamily to figure out the money. Because most people say, oh, $1 million, I need to go raise $1 million. That's not how it works. We raise about a third of that, and then we go get a loan for the rest. Mm-hmm. And so, but you have to know how much you need. So if you need to raise 100,000, we got to go find 4 $25,000 people or 100, however that works. We got to know our number first, and then we can go track that down. And I'm going to show you how to do that tomorrow. Because today I wanted to get you to find deals, because all investors are going to say, okay, fine, but show me a deal, right? Mm-hmm. And without the deal, if I taught you how to raise money first, you'd be like, great, now how do I find deals, right?
Yes, to me, well, when you get the deal, it will show up. The money's it's chasing the deals.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
Round up, get your questions in. We'll get Mike Fritz here as multifamily investor. We got 111 people here. I wanted to see what saith Mike. Nia Merst. I want to invest out of state. I live in Long Island. Wow, it's going to be high up there. It's expensive. She's already said. Where are the best places to invest in this country, Mike?
Good question. So first of all, I will also say something about multifamily. This is not a political statement. It's a multifamily statement. There are states that are more landlord friendly and states that are more tenant friendly.
New York, yeah.
And you want to be in states that are more landlord friendly. Investing in New York, it can take you a year to get a tenant out. They can live in your property without paying you for a year, essentially. Same with California. And so I would say those two states, do not invest in and buy and hold. Atlanta, I'll just say Georgia's probably Georgia, Florida, Texas, South Carolina, North Carolina, those southern and southeastern states right now. That's why all the multifamily investors are flooding to the southeast because of low income, lower expenses, lower taxes, and they're landlord friendly. So where's the best place for you to invest? I would look at Charlotte. I'd look at Orlando, I'd look at Jacksonville, I'd look at Atlanta, I'd look at Texas, I'd look at those areas. And the Midwest, like Ohio's a great market. Ohio's a fantastic market. Like what a lot of people don't know about Columbus, more people are going to know this because I say this a lot, but Columbus hasn't decreased in population for 20 years. It's been on an upswing for 20 years. And that puppy's just been growing and growing and growing. So Columbus, now the 14th biggest city in the United States, and you're going to get properties for pretty reasonably priced. You go down into Dallas, they're going to be a lot more money. Mm-hmm. So, and Atlanta's even gotten really expensive. So Cincinnati, Indianapolis is getting higher, but Cincinnati, Indianapolis, Columbus, those are really good Midwestern states that will protect you as a landlord pretty well. So it's not just where to invest, but it's also where's it landlord friendly. So if you do have a tenant not paying, you can actually get them out.
I know. Are the prices lower? I have only seen single family in Indiana, Mike, but I'm presuming that the multifamily is cheaper there as well.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I invest in South Bend, so I'm in Indiana. I know a lot of the laws there, and so it's very, very good prices in Indiana. We get really good returns.
Good. Erasmo Rivera. Hey, my friend, when the skip trace number is not correct, how do you find the owner, Mike?
Great question. So if the skip trace number, or you have some programs that are working that are, you have some software that you're using, whether you're using Deal Finder or any of the ones that are out there. And Chris, you may even know a few more that you're using, Deal Machine, and some of those. But if the skip trace number isn't working, I try to find you can find it through the county records. You can go to the county records and actually get there, and you can direct mail instead of their phone number. And that's probably what I would do. If I can't find the phone number, I would direct mail them and move on. We have a rule in multifamily. It's called on to the next. Whether we win a deal or lose a deal, it's on to the next.
Nice.
And if I come to a number that I can't find of an owner and I'm like, man, I'm working on this, I just can't find it, then it's kind of an on to the next thing. It's like, okay, let's go on to the next deal.
Yeah, I think that comes with experience too. But I will say, Mike, a lot of those dudes can kind of get in there and find those people.
Oh, they can.
Deals, right?
They definitely can. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
When you get older and grumpy like me, you're just like, no, I'm just.
Yeah. I love it.
Aaron D. Adams, property managers are great for off-market deals as well. Okay, Mike was saying that.
Yeah. And one of the things I actually ask my property managers when I'm interviewing them is, will you put me in line when one of your other owners wants to sell a property?
Nice.
So I say I use them as a deal source. I'm like, hey, one of the things I'm looking to build a relationship, not just hire a manager. If one of your other owners wants to offload a property, can I be on your first list to call?
Good one.
So yeah, absolutely.
Turning them into a bird dog.
Absolutely.
Round up. Make sure you put your city in here. I want to know where you guys coming from today. Aaron, get your questions in too. Do you have or have you done any single family conversions? Or any new multifamily constructions outside of that first duplex, Mike?
Yeah, good question. Good question. So no conversions. We now, instead of converting it, we just buy them. I mean, we don't look for conversions. I will say this though. That's a side. But the answer is no. I have bought single family homes that were converted. I never did the conversion myself.
Gotcha.
Second thing, I think because of the virtual world we're living in right now, office buildings that are offices right now, because so many people are going to be working from home with Zoom, and I think that's going to be something that continues. I think a lot of people are going to come into office spaces and convert them to multifamily. And I'll say that because I actually am looking at 2 buildings right now to do that too. Because you can get office, they're just boxes and nobody's there, and they're wanting to just sell the box off, and we can change them into multifamilies because we know that will continue. People are always going to need a place to live, right? And that's so it's safer. So I have never done that, no, but I have bought ones that has been done too. Yes.
Gotcha. So conversions, just from a roundup, is give them a 30-second explanation of what a conversion is.
Yeah.
Mike?
So if you have a single family, you turn it into a duplex where you might bring in more utilities, where you'll have another furnace, and you break the house into 2 sections so 2 families can live, 2 separate entrances,
Gotcha.
3, who knows? Sometimes these older houses where you can have separate entrances, maybe they'd break them off, put 2 kitchens and bathrooms, and they can turn it into a duplex if that makes sense. And so yeah, that's what a conversion is. If you were bringing it into a duplex, or yeah. So good question.
We got it. Christopher has a 4-plex under contract in your city. Congratulations.
Nice work, Christopher. I love it.
Congratulations. It's basically a unicorn. There are no comps and no way to figure out an ARV. Can you help me figure out the value of the place?
Yeah. So what I would do is I would take the rent, which is take the gross rent per month, and try to be close to what's.
Give them a ballpark, Mike. 800. Just say it's $1,000 a unit. I don't know.
So if it's a 4 unit, it's $1,000 a unit. I'm looking to get that building for about $400,000.
So $1,000 is $4,000.
So it's kind of we call it the 1% rule. 1% of your sale price in gross monthly rent. So if it's a $100,000 unit, or if it's a $100,000 duplex, I want to be getting $1,000 a month. If it's a $500,000 building, I want to be getting $5,000 a month. Million, I want to be getting $10,000 a month. You get the numbers. So it's go to that 1% rule. That's a good base price. That doesn't always work depending on your market, because your expenses, your taxes might be through the roof. And that I don't know. That's why I would say I need to know your area, but that's a typical. Yeah.
Mike Christopher might be a good one for somebody to bring on and just kind of chop up that deal, man. That sounds like a good one.
Yeah, seriously.
Trevor, what is the largest multifamily units and the biggest challenges you have, Mike?
Yeah, so the biggest we're looking currently at a 110 unit building, a big apartment building. So that'll be our biggest. That's the one we lost in Atlanta, so we're moving that to another deal. So that'll be our biggest. We have a 32 unit we're putting under contract this week. And so those are our bigger deals. I was specializing in more in the 4 to 10 units. And now now we see some great returns and bigger. The biggest challenges I've had, great question. Biggest challenges is keeping the plates spinning from investors, lenders, and property managers, right? And making sure all those people are managed well. And we're at a point in our company where in the next year, we'll bring somebody on that we call an asset manager that basically makes sure they contact all the property managers weekly, make sure everything's going on. So the biggest challenge when you started off is managing the plates of lenders, investors, property managers, and all that kind of stuff.
Mike, it's ironic you mentioned that. I just keep thinking back to my career. I'm so focused on earning money. Like I'm just trying to figure out, bills paid,
Yeah.
getting income,
Yeah.
and it coming up the ranks. And I want to ask you, man, how can you, it's like, when do you kind of get that switch? I want to ask you personally. We switch from, as Patrick Bet-David says, offense, earning, defense, managing, and further for you, defense, hiring, manager to manage. I mean, managing is just so big.
It is big. Yeah. So that's a great question. And the thing that I've always struggled with the offense defense analogy personally is offense is earning, defense managing, or making sure there's not holes in your bucket. I think we're more the referee. If you know that analogy, you're looking down the line to make sure the defense isn't offsides. We're the referee where we have 1 foot on defense and 1 foot on offense. And so we got to make sure that we're always growing, meaning we're always looking at deal acquisition and getting more investors, but never out of managing. And so not that we have to do the management ourselves. We have managers that do that, but even somebody needs to make sure they're connecting with their managers, make sure their managers are doing a good job.
Yeah.
And so as you grow, you become a leader. We don't in real estate investing, we should talk about that more, Chris, of being a leader, because leading teams is really what takes you. You want to go from making $5,000 a month to $50,000 to $100,000 a month. It's all about leadership. It's all about leadership. And most people think it's about finding money and marketing. It's about leadership. I'm telling you, it's about relationship connections and leadership. And I know that sounds really, John Maxwell-esque, but I'm telling you, it's leadership. And I've learned that the hard way because I failed on that. But it's leader. You want to grow from, 3 or 4 single family homes to 500 units. It's leadership. I'm telling you.
Yeah, you're right, man. It still falls under. I mean, just from my fence earning, managing.
Yes,
on managing.
It is. And I love what Stephen Covey said. Managing is helping people get up and down the ladder. Leadership is making sure the ladder's leaning against the right wall.
Wow.
And what Stephen Covey said, as a leader, we're making sure that our managers are focusing on the right things, right? And so part of that with my property managers, when they're thinking, well, we got to fill this unit, I'm like, no, we actually have an issue over here we need to focus on first. That's leadership, making sure the focus is on the right direction, and then they help get up and down the ladder. So, but it's our job to kind of lead and navigate that. Yeah.
Thank you. I'm going to introduce you again, Mike. Mike Fritz here, a multifamily property investor and investor himself this is his 2-day challenge roundup. Today's the first day. We're just about wrapping it up. Don't forget to join us tomorrow. He's going to talk about financing. Mike, get your questions in for Mike right now. He'll get us a few more answered. Then he's got to get out of here.
Absolutely.
Anderson Pierre, does Mike have a mentorship program? Good question. What you got?
Yes, I do. Yeah. So I have a mentorship program. Chris and I are actually going to talk about something tomorrow a little bit, but I do have a mentorship program. I have a 10-week challenge where I take people through 10 weeks. I help them get a piece of multifamily real estate in 10 weeks or less. And the reason I do that is that when I hired a mentor years and years ago, it took me 71 days to get my first deal. Nice. And so I walked through the exact process. So I do. And Chris and I put something together really special we're going to talk about tomorrow that we've never done before. And so not that we've never done what we're teaching, but we've never offered something like this. So we're pumped. So yeah, so come back tomorrow, especially for the finding money. Guys, I cannot explain how powerful being able to put investors on the table is. I just can't even what it will change in your life. I mean, you can say, Chris, how's raising money change your life?
My thing is, man, I like the analogy thing. Like it's almost like having a plane. It is the air under the wings of my plane, dude. I'm remembering people asking me like back in 2009 and 10. They're like, Chris, how the hell are you still in business?
Right.
I'm not that special. I just had some giants that taught me.
Bingo. Yeah. If you raise money, you'll never be out of a job in this business. That's just the truth. And that's why tomorrow's so valuable. So come back and I'll walk you through how I started to raise money. And, literally in the last, call it 60 days, we've raised about $4.5 million.
Wow.
So when we talk about raising money, we'll share it. Like, this isn't again, it's not rocket science. It's reaching out to people with a deal and an opportunity, but how you do that is important. And I'll even give you some word for word things you could say.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you for that. Letitia, hey, my mother and I are getting started with this as soon as possible. Interested in taking a multi-unit building and only have an Airbnb. Okay.
Yeah. So a couple things with Airbnb. Number one, there's actually three things. The first thing is Airbnb is crushing it right now, but as travel shifts, Airbnb will be a little bit less reliable. So just know that. I'm not saying it'll go away. I'm just saying it could. The second thing is, after you own rental property for 2 years, banks will start seeing your rental property as income. So as soon as you own properties for 24 months, banks start seeing it as income and they start seeing you as an experienced operator. Here's the catch. Unless it's Airbnb, they won't see that as income because it's not reliable, right? So as an Airbnb, they can't count that. They like leases. They like to see leases in place. And when those leases aren't in place, they don't like that. So that's just another word. But Airbnb, I will say this is the third thing, 100% about the area. 100% about the area. If you're wanting to Airbnb out of No Name, Iowa, I would say don't do it. If you're Airbnb in Phoenix, Arizona, I'd say you're going to have a heyday. It all depends on, or New York City or wherever. Of course, New York people may be a little nervous to travel there now, but either way, you just, it's all about the area.
Yep. I have one Airbnb. It shut down to 0 March, April, May.
Yeah, sure.
We kind of got back up in June.
Yep. And that's what most people's Airbnb did. Yep.
Okay, we got it. Which states? You already covered that one. Sylvia, if you rewind the video, he talked about landlord-friendly states about 15 minutes ago.
Awesome.
Crystal, would you recommend using NACA for your first multifamily? Good question. NACA has some good programs for people that want to buy a property. Unbelievable stuff, actually. You familiar with that stuff?
I'm not familiar with NACA as much. Give me what that is, Chris.
I don't want to misspeak, but maybe Crystal can kind of it's a government program that helps people buy houses, my friend. That's all I know. So let's leave that one alone then.
Yeah. So I would say, though, using any type of governmental program to get into multifamily, if there's assistance there that's available, I would definitely take advantage of it. See how it works with multifamily. But if it works with multifamily, call them up, see if it works. Then I would go forward with any type of assistance like that for sure.
Yep. Big brother in life, how good does your finance skill set need to be, Mike?
Ooh, finance skill set. Well,
maybe you can help them with that.
So if finance skill set means understanding money, good. If finance skill set means raising money, it needs to be good. But here's what I would say about financing. Robert Kiyosaki said this: the person that learns financing and accounting will win. And his whole point was, I hated when he told me this because I hate accounting. He told me, he didn't tell me this personally, through one of his books. He said, if you don't learn accounting, you're going to leave millions of dollars on the table throughout your career. He's 100% right. So learning the different kinds of loans and learning how to talk to investors about cap rates and operating cash on cash return and internal rate of return and all that stuff is valuable. But this is why you're here. So coming back tomorrow, learning how to raise money and then getting in programs that can teach you that's your first step.
Gotcha. Yep. Anderson wants to know, how do the people get in touch with you, Mike?
Get in touch with me. Oh, you can email me, Mike@poweruprealestate.com. That's easy. Mike@poweruprealestate.com. That's my personal email. Doesn't go to my sister Anna, just go straight to me. And because Chris and I are here, get a hold of me. I'd love to chat.
And he's on Facebook. He's on all that other.
Oh yeah. Get me on Facebook. Friend me on Facebook. Chris and I were doing some stuff on Chris and I were doing some stuff on Facebook today, so we're there. Shoot me a private message on Facebook, and we can connect for sure.
In a suburb, 30 minutes from Portland. Q Reed, John. I know you got. We've been over here an hour, Mike.
Is this going to be on YouTube in full? I missed the start of the video.
Just rewind it. You got it. Yep.
Fantastic, man.
Well, listen, I know you got to cut out of here, Mike. I gotta. You want to? What you want to do, man? You got a few more here, or you want?
Yeah, no, dude. Let's
Good.
hit. What's your preferred cap rate? So this is a good question. It depends on the area. You get into some areas you're buying cap rates of 4. You get into other areas you're buying cap rates of 9 and 10. So here's what I would say. By the way, just so you know, on cap rate, the higher the cap rate, the lower valuable the building is. The lower the cap rate, the higher valuable the building is. And so I look for like if I'm in the Midwest, I usually look for at a 7 to 7.5. If I'm down in Texas, I want a 6.5. Same with Atlanta, that kind of thing. So that's kind of where I'm at. If I'm, you're going to see a lot of times if you buy like split portfolios in like Midwest Michigan kind of thing, you're going to get 9 and 10 caps. That's because those aren't as valuable. So that's what I would say to that.
Paris wants to know, Mike, thank you for everything. Thank you for speaking. Does this stuff pertain to the Section 8 involvement also or not, Mike?
Yeah, so I have in multifamily, you can certainly rent out to Section 8 tenants. You have to decide if that's, and Chris has an entire program on Section 8 and how to navigate that entire thing. He just launched it in the last 30 days here. Fantastic content. So Section 8, certainly. Yeah, you can have Section 8 tenants. So we do have some in our properties where we get, some are like we get all from the government and some we only get a portion and they pay a portion, which is primarily the way that Section 8 goes, at least in the way we've experienced. Yep. And so, yeah, certainly.
There's another one here. Mike wants to know how do you feel about Section 8? Robel asked about that.
How do I feel about Section 8? I'm up and down on it. And some days I love it, some days I hate it. Like currently, I'll tell you this. I have Section 8 right now, and we have Section 8 who's paying their half. The tenant is not paying their half, but I can't even talk about an eviction until the first of the year. So they can back that up, and there's nothing I can.
A portion of it, though, Mike.
I'm at least getting some. That's exactly right. I'm at least covering my expenses. I'm getting something.
You could be getting nothing.
Yeah, you said it, brother. You said it, my man.
All right, let's get you out of here. Mike, final thoughts for the day for finding properties and tomorrow roundup. Make sure you come back, join us. Mike's got some goodies for us. I'm honored to even be a part of this. 3 o'clock tomorrow on Thursday. We're going to talk about financing this stuff, raising the money, Mike. My favorite, one of my superpowers. I'm not
so we're going to have a fun time tomorrow. So please do not miss it. Invite everybody you know, because tomorrow is going to be killer for getting how to actually finance these puppies.
So, okay. We've got 120 people on here. Awesome. Give me your final thoughts on locating, Mike. Then I'll let you go. We'll get out of here.
Okay. Final locating properties. Remember, always follow jobs. And when you're looking for real, if I was to start in any market, I would get on the phone. I'd get on some of these things like LoopNet and these things that I was telling you about. Yep. And I would say, hey, what deals do you have? So I'd call as many agents as I could. As many agents as I could. And I'd go from there. So I call as many agents. Hey, this is the property I'm looking for. Do you have anything? That's how you bust in there.
Gotcha. All right, roundup. So that's Mike Fritz with Multifamily Investing. This is his 2-day challenge. So tomorrow, 3 o'clock, make sure you come back and hear what else Mike has to say regarding the financing piece, because that to me, it's just a superpower that you got to have. Okay, roundup. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, like the content, share with any other investors that are thinking about getting into multifamily like I am.
Awesome. I love it. Well, I will see you guys all tomorrow. Have a fantastic day.
Okay, roundup. See y'all soon. Peace.